There are a few different types of multi-step equations we might come across. One is where we have variables on both sides. So if I have 3x plus 2 equals 5x minus 4. My job is to get the variables on one side, numbers on the other, and then solve. I like to do the inverse of the smallest coefficient. So between 3 and 5, because those are my coefficients, 3 is smaller. So I'm going to do the inverse of positive 3x, which is negative 3x. So 3x minus 3x cancel out. I'm left with 2 equals 2x minus 4. Now it's a two-step equation. So I look for my variable. To get the variable by itself, I'm going to do the inverse. So I'll add 4 to both sides. And that's going to give me 6 equals 2x. So that means multiply if I have a number next to a letter, number next to a variable. So the inverse is going to be divide. So x is going to be 3. To check it, I need to plug in my answer into the original equation. So 3 times 3 plus 2. Does that equal 5 times 3 minus 4? Now I'm going to evaluate both sides separately. This gives me 9 plus 2, which is 11. On the right hand side, I get 15 minus 4, which is also 11. So since the sides come out to the same number, that means I did it correctly. The equation is equal. Another version of multi-step equations is if you have the variables on the same side. So I might have 2x minus 5x plus 1 equals negative 5. So if they're on the same side, I'm going to combine them. I'm not going to do the inverse because they're on the same side. I'm going to combine them. So 2 minus 5, right? Just look at the coefficients. That gives me negative 3x plus 1 equals 5. So now I'm going to minus 1 from both sides. I get negative 3x equals negative 6. So I'm going to divide by a negative 3 on both sides, and x equals positive 2. So to check this, I would plug into the original equation. So 2 times positive 2 minus 5 times positive 2 plus 1, and check if that equals negative 5. So this is 4 minus 10 plus 1. Check if that equals negative 5. Negative 6 plus 1. Well, that equals negative 5, so we are correct. The last kind we could look at is when we have a line. Well, actually, there's 2 more. So let's do this version. So I'm going to do 2 outside of 3x minus 4 equals 16. Parentheses first, so I'm going to do what's outside. That 2 times, inverse would be divide by 2. So I end up with 3x minus 4 equals 8. Now it's a 2-step, and I can solve. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. I get 3x equals 12, divide by 3, and x equals 4. You would plug it in to check if you're correct. So 2 times 3 times 4 minus 4, check if that equals 16. So 12 minus 4, that's 8. Remember to do what's inside the parentheses first. So 16 is going to equal 16. Last type, we would say 4x minus 1 over 2, and we'll say equal to 5. So I'm going to multiply by 2 this time to get rid of that 2 on the denominator. So 4x minus 1 is equal to 10. I'll add 1 to both sides. That gives me 4x equals 11. Divide by 4 on both sides, and I'm just going to leave it as a mixed number. So that gives me 2 3/4.